Got it.
So thank you everybody for joining our webinar today. My name is Ashley Davis. I'm the VP of Community Engagement with PunchAlert, and I have Greg Arts, the co-founder and CEO of PunchAlert, on with us today. We are both very excited for this new release of 5.5 and the web console. We've been working with all of our customers and getting tons of feedback, and of course our partners as well. And so we're really excited to share with you some of the new features. And I'm really excited to hear, from Greg's perspective, because I know he's been very deep in development. And so I know he's very excited for this release to finally come to fruition. Without further ado, I'll go ahead and pass it over to Greg. And thanks so much for, putting this together, Greg.
Great. No, thank you, Ashley. And thanks everyone for joining us today. It's great to see the numbers start popping up. And so many names we know so well. So yeah, we've been working on this new version of PunchAlert for the last year, really, and it includes quite a few different components of the platform that really all come together. So we're going to go over them. The new admin console. So it's a brand new web console, particularly for your administrative users. Many of you on this call, I think, are kind of that role within your organization. But even if you're not an admin, there are some components of the admin console that may be relevant to some other users as well. We'll go through that. We have a new version of the mobile app with a new design and plenty of great new features. So we're going to go through that. And we've also focused on a couple new critical pieces of functionality. SMS is something we've always supported, through mass SMS. When you're sending out an emergency or sending out an announcement, we send SMS. But really what we've noticed is we needed to ramp up the amount of functionality, the amount of features that we could offer for all those people, either within your organization or maybe within your community that you're trying to reach, that may not want to download an app like PunchAlert or may not want to view the alert in some other mechanism. The easiest way, the way that gets the most engagement we've seen, is through SMS. And so we have a lot of customers that are frankly just using that when it comes to their public. So we'll demonstrate how we've really expanded the SMS engagement component of our platform. And finally, we'll talk about a new feature that probably our most requested new feature that we're proud to release, which is an emergency conference line. So we'll walk through all that, how to set it up. I'm going to start with the admin console and walk through not every detail. There's far too much for me to just show every detail. So if you really want detailed training, of course, reach out to us. Carol can walk you through all that. But at least hopefully I'll give you a high level view enough to get you started and to dive in deeper. And then I'm going to take a quick detour into Slack. I'm going to show you a cool Slack integration that we've built. And then we'll move to the mobile app and my phone on the screen. Please, as I'm doing all this, start writing questions. You can post your questions, or maybe Ashley and I can address them as we go, or at the end if I don't see them. Yeah, let's try and make it interactive if at all possible. So I'm going to take my video off the screen at this point so we can focus on the web console. All right, so let's do that. And okay, so. And Ashley, please tell me if you can't see anything. Hopefully everyone can see just punchalert.com. That's where I am today. Ashley, is that pretty clear? Can you see that?
Yes, that looks good.
Okay, great. So most people just go directly to our admin. There's a new URL for it. So the old admin was at app.punchalert.com. If you go to our website now and you go to login, you'll notice there's a user portal as well as an admin portal. And the user portal, I'm not going to go through that in detail today, but feel free to go there and check it out. It's something that any PunchAlert user, any end user, doesn't even have to be a paid user, can go and use to access what lists they follow, even what announcements they've received. So there's not a ton of functionality there. It's not like the mobile app, but nice little portal. But if you go to admin portal, you'll notice that it goes to a new URL, which is admin.punchalert.com. And so I'm going to go ahead and log in. All right, so it's kind of designed around the new way we think about our platform, which is there are really three modules, functional modules, and the emergency module, announcements and tips, which is the same in the mobile app. And as an administrator, you have access to all of them. If I was just an emergency responder, an internal responder for emergencies, I could have access to that. and likewise with the other modules. But because I'm an administrator, a system administrator, I can actually see the admin settings as well. So you've got these kind of 4 blocks in the middle. They're also at the top, so whatever is easier for you. And then you'll notice these little shortcuts. These are customizable. So as we're drilling into all the detailed pages, feel free to create whatever shortcuts that you use frequently. You know, if you're constantly editing users, just add a shortcut. So, so first thing I want to do is actually jump to the enterprise level. A lot of you have more than one organization. If you have more than one organization, it's been a challenge to manage that. We've added some functionality that's going to make your life a little bit easier. So if you do manage multiple organizations, one thing I want to show at this level is in the admin settings, if you go into users, when you create a user, or you can edit an existing user, you'll now be able to enter their information, you know, their preferences, and you'll also be able to control, okay, first of all, are they an enterprise admin? Do they have these capabilities? But then at the org level, you can say, yes, I want to add them. So if you have 20 locations within your facility, now you can create a user and add them to whichever ones you want or all of the above. And for each one, you could decide, yes, I want them to be an internal responder. Yes, I want them to be a system admin, an announcement admin. And you hit save and you create this new user all at once. And again, this little plus sign, that's the shortcut. So that's if you're doing something a lot, just create a shortcut to the home page. But this is going to save a lot of people a lot of time, I think. You know, some of our customers really actually rely on us to help them manage their users because it's time consuming, and we're happy to do that. But, you know, check out this tool. I think it'll make your life a little bit easier. Okay, another thing just for, you know, simplicity, intuitive sake, and really we designed this to be very scalable for the future. And based on really everything our customers have told us, we've been trying to really listen to our customers and you know, build out these features that they need over time and have a really scalable platform customizable for them. One thing we realized was search needed to be a little better. Now you'll see this little search icon at the top. And this is a global search. So you can actually search anything in your system, whether it's an announcement, a user, an emergency, an archived tip, really anything. You know, if I search my name, you can see that my user comes up. I can dive into there, but I can also go and look at an announcement that I sent or an emergency where I participated. So you can scroll down. So you can actually search for almost any element of our platform right from this global search. You don't even have to notice it's made suggestions there, but you could always just type something in and hit search as well. When you get to the user detail page, you'll notice a bunch of new features in here. Again, I'm not going to walk you through all those today, but play around with them. I think they're pretty intuitive. And you can see the status, it's green. Some nice features. Sorry, availability when I say status. Meaning I'm going to receive notifications. So everything's hopefully a little bit more intuitive in that sense. So play around with that. Okay, so global search. And then we do have that search at the user level too. So if you go to the org user page, you'll notice this little black search box. It's the same interface I just showed you for global, but it's just for your users. So again, that should make your user search much easier and much faster. I know some of you have thousands and thousands of users and the paging sometimes was getting a little arduous. This is going to make it a lot easier. To just find whoever it is you're looking for. All right, and again, we're saving the more interactive stuff with the mobile app at the end, so I'm not going to spend too much time on the admin. The one thing I do want to spend a moment on is categories. So categories is something you're going to notice as a fairly significant change in the mobile app. For those of you that have used tips, you've noticed that tips have always been visual icons. Well, now in the emergency module and the announcement module, we are offering visual icons. This is especially important for emergencies. So I really encourage you, if you're the admin for your organization, go into this section and start setting up your categories, your icons, your category icons for emergencies. Now you may see some defaults already in place, but you can definitely change them. So you just click on the cog at the right. You can see how you can edit the name, you can edit the icon. If you don't see an icon you like, contact us. We're constantly, it's very easy for us to add icons to the selection. So feel free to reach out to us if you need new icons or you have a suggestion for an icon, and we'll get those uploaded. You'll also notice there's something called a priority category. That's important for emergencies. You'll see in the mobile app how we, on the countdown page, offer 3 emergency categories immediately there. Now you can drill down and choose one that's not your emergency category, But the priority categories are the top 3 that show up on the countdown page. So you might want that to be active shooter, fire. You know, what are the things that you really want people to be able to report the quickest and the easiest? So, so that, and you can control your dynamic responders. There are some other features. Again, I'm not going to go into all of it. It's very simple now to attach plans right from here too. So if you have multiple plans you want to attach to a category, you can do it right there. You can add automated notes. So if there's a default update you want to go out, like this is just a test, for example, you can do that right in this interface as well. All right, go back to categories for a second. You can see the breadcrumbs. This category page that I'm on now, this is the global admin categories. You'll notice I have my emergency categories, my announcement categories, and my tip categories all on the same page. But if you're, for example, I go back to the home, I just press my logo, I go back to view emergencies, and I go to settings, categories, just within emergencies. Well, now I'm just dealing with emergency categories. So you can do that as well.
Greg, can you do me a favor? I love this feature here where you change the organization and it actually goes to the category page of that organization. So you don't have to go into another organization and then drill down right into you know, where you're going.
Yeah, if I change the organization, yeah, if I switch from Punch Tech to Mont Greg Awesome Company, just a demo work, yes, I can now see categories for that organization. So yeah, you're right. I mean, we've added a lot of things like that. They just make it a little bit easier for all our customers that are managing more than one organization.
Yep.
So thanks, Ashley. Cool. All right, so that's categories. One feature that I know are a lot of customers have been waiting for us to build is the ability to edit a geofence. So now when you have your geofences, you do have the ability to go, and rather than just deleting them, it's now much easier to you know, rename them or even redraw them. So you can redraw, you can manage their schedule, you can really, so geofence management is much simpler in this new interface. Okay, one other thing, well, actually 2 other things I wanted to spend a moment on in the admin. Under admin settings, there is, let's deal with onboarding first. So onboarding. So, you know, many of you manage your users manually, or you bulk upload them, or maybe you have a sync with Okta or some other system that we support, and that's great. But if you're allowing people to opt in to PunchAlert, whether it's through the mobile app or just through texting or emailing or however they're accessing it, we have a few different onboarding techniques, and most of you know about some of these. There's a URL you can set up at the role level for people to sign up. There are access codes if you want to tell people just to download the app and join your org with an access code. That's available too. We've added a new one over the last 6 months, again, as part of the whole SMS initiative, which is a short code sign-up phrase. So this is a really simple process where you can type in a unique phrase. So like, you know, webinar 7 is available. So if you text webinar 7, you can give it a purpose. You can give a text back message. So all you need to do is tell your folks, hey, text the word webinar 7 to our short code. Our short code at PunchAlert is 77297. And that's a great way for people to sign up. And not only does it get them signed up, they get a text back message, thank you, you know, et cetera, whatever you want to write. It also can add them to a role and a list. So you can create any lists you want, and they can immediately sign up for those roles or for those lists. Hit save, and that's as simple as that. You can always go and edit it. So if you want to edit it, like there's Punch. If you wanted to sign up for Punch newsletters, text Punch to 77297. That adds them to the SCP list. I don't have a role selected. It's optional. It'll make them a public follower, not a private member. So this is an onboarding mechanism for your public, but you could actually use it for your private members as well, for your employees. If you're thinking of this as more of an opt-in, because obviously you can't require them to, I mean, you could, but there are other ways to do it if you're kind of requiring it. But this is a really nice way to make it flexible and allow people to sign up. Okay.
So the one thing that I just want to say about this feature, Greg, really quickly, is that when you're thinking about engagement with the stakeholder groups that you're trying to reach out to, and the amount of noise that's out there coming through, the media and social and everything else, the ability to be able to reach them directly to their handheld device, to their text message, and get them the information that they need, I think is huge. So I love that you can set this up within 30 minutes. I mean, probably less, a few minutes. And then next thing you know, you're able to send out an announcement to that group of folks who have opted into that list. And now you have a direct channel to them to communicate with them effectively.
Yep. Yeah, it's great. And as we'll see when we get into the announcement module, the amount of functionality within SMS, including, for example, some of the interactive things that we've only supported in the app before, like asking a yes or no question, or sending out a video or an audio recording, or things like that are very interactive. As Ashley said, SMS is so engaging, but you want to have that kind of interactive capability, and we've really added that with SMS. So yeah, we encourage you to take a look at that. And I'm going to jump into the announcement module a little bit in the admin as well. But last thing here in this administrative section is the conference line. So if I go to settings basic, here's where you're going to see information on the conference line. Now mine is already set up. You will need to, if you don't have it enabled already, you will need to enable it. And there is a fee per year for a conference line, but you can purchase it right through here. There's a whole interface. You just put a credit card down. The first conference line is $250 per year. There's no limit to the number of people that can participate in that line. And if you need lines for multiple orgs, then contact us and we'll give you a discount. So it's cheaper as you add more organizations. But here's where you're going to enable it. Don't click cancel, because if you cancel, then, if you cancel it and re-enable it, it's going to make you pay again. So just reach out to us if you need to cancel for whatever reason and need to re-enable it. But basically, once it's enabled, you'll see that it will be enabled for all your users within the mobile app. And I'll demo that. But you'll see the subscription start date and end date, and it'll automatically renew a year later unless you cancel it at some point. So yeah, really simple to set up, and we think you're going to love this feature.
So the exciting thing that I just want to mention here is that now, for record keeping purposes, right, you no longer have to have access to a third-party conference line in order to capture or the recording of that call, and then import it into your record keeping for the emergency situation. Now it's all in-house and all in one place.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's a good point. It's really going to make your lives a lot easier. If you still prefer the alternative approach, that's down here. That's the external conference number that we've been supporting for a while. If you want to continue using whatever you already have in place, obviously it leaves the app if you use that option. With this, it's staying within the PunchAlert app, and they don't have to press any buttons. They just join away. So it's using the same VoIP server farm that we ultimately built for 911 Plus. So we're really excited to extend that for in-app emergency conference calling. And over time, we'd love to get your feedback on this, because one thing we've talked a lot about is extending this conference line use beyond just during an emergency. So let us know what you think about it, and what features would really be helpful, or other places within the mobile app or the web console, or just within our whole platform that it could also be helpful for you. Okay, so the last thing I'll say quickly, before we leave the web console, is play around with the whole, especially all the modules, but especially the announcement module. I think you'll see quite a number of new features. As we were building out our SMS capability, we did learn we needed to add new functionality here. So when you create an announcement, we have templates and drafts. I think you've all seen that in the mobile app as well. You can give it a title. We kind of tell you how many SMS it's going to be. So as your SMS gets very long, at some point it may become 2 messages, especially on Android. And so that just might use up a little bit more of your SMS balance if you bought an SMS pack from us, unless you're on an unlimited plan. It tells you that. And then a lot of these options, again, are now enabled via SMS. So if you enable comments, if you ask a yes or no question, choosing your distribution, you know, what channels you're going to send it out. Obviously, here's where you would indicate, yes, I want SMS, push notification, email. Those are the 3 that are on by default. Do you need other integrations? You can attach a location to an announcement as well. That's pretty helpful. So now the map on the homepage of PunchAlert, the mobile app, shows all 3 modules. So emergencies, tips, or announcements can all show up on the map now, which is pretty helpful. You'll also see how they all have banners. So not just emergencies have banners. If you want to preview something at any time, you can. So, you know, you can always go and before you send it, you could save it as a draft or you can preview it. And that'll just kind of take you to this page here where you can then go ahead and send it, save it, or just discard it at some point. But this is just a little quick sanity check for you to look at it before you go ahead and hit send. And then your announcements, you know, if you go to your archives, you know, a lot of customers, just keep in mind that all the announcements that you leave in this list here, in this home, will show up in the mobile app. But if you do need to, you know, archive a bunch of messages, you can certainly do that. You archive them. That'll take them to the archives. Those won't show up in the mobile app anymore once you've archived them, but they're there. So you can still go and view details, look at who received them and all that. All right, so that is everything I planned on showing for the admin, unless anyone has any questions, or Ashley, if you have any other recommendations on things we cover in the admin.
No, I think that was good. That was good.
All right.
I think we're excited to see the mobile app.
Okay,
But
all right, good. All right.
But
so,
I also want to see the Slack integration too. So I'm excited about that too.
all right, we'll do a quick detour on Slack. So here, let's go to my Slack. All right. So can you see my Slack all right, Ashley? Everything pretty clear?
Yes.
Okay, so if you use Slack, there are some very simple commands we've added just to make everyone's life a little bit easier. If they happen to live in Slack most of the day, like we do at Punch, we've added a couple simple commands. And you can do this in any channel you want. So I'm just talking to myself in the Greg channel, but it can actually happen in any channel or any direct message. All you have to do is do /PA. And you'll notice we have 3 functions set up: PA alert, PA status, and PA note. Let's start with PA alert. Just hit enter. Well, I just declared an emergency. And it's that simple. Now, one thing, I received it on my phone. One thing I may want to do now is then say, set my status that I'm okay. And I also may want to submit a note. This is just for demo purposes. So now I just reported an emergency, I set my status, and I added a note to that emergency, and it all shows up right in the mobile app, which I will show you in a moment. And you don't have to be the one that declares the emergency. So if there's an active emergency, you can receive it in Slack, and then you can do these things right from here. And obviously I'm showing you from my desktop Slack app, you can do the same thing from your mobile Slack app. So for those users that for whatever reason don't download PunchAlert, but you do have Slack and they're in it all day long, nice little feature for you. And that is it for Slack. Ashley, you miss anything there? Are we ready for the mobile app?
I'm ready to see it in the mobile app now. Yeah, absolutely.
All right. All right, let's move over here. The phone should be coming up. All right, here we go. So I just pulled up the emergency that I just reported from a different user. So I'm logged in as Greg Arts, but there's a separate user account called Greg Arts 2 that's associated with my Slack account. And that's what everyone's seeing here, emergency was by Slack. And then this is just for demo purposes. That was that note you saw me submit from Slack as well. So that's pretty straightforward. Let's go ahead and start over. I'm going to resolve this one and go to the home page for a moment. Dismiss this and let's refresh. Okay. So you'll notice a couple things. And when I first opened the app, by the way, you'll notice this launch pad, which not everyone realizes when you minimize it, you could actually re-maximize it just by swiping your thumb up from the bottom. Kind of handy so you can minimize and maximize as much as you want. But when you first load the app, obviously that big red button's important. If that's the thing you're doing, you're reporting an emergency, you can always do that. But you can also now have 2 other buttons. You can view activity, which will take you right into the activity stream, whatever it is that went to emergencies there, because that's what I was last looking at. But you can take a look at all of the recent announcements, tips, and emergencies, all filtered by the org, which is at the top. So that view activity is a quick way to do that. But the other nice thing about this is this post button. Now I'm an admin, so I can create an announcement right from here. For most people that aren't admins, they're just going to be able to post a tip. So it'll skip this page and go right in here. So it's a little faster to post a tip rather than hitting the tip option at the kind of the bottom right. Okay. You also notice these little banners at the top. There's no emergency banner, but there are announcements, tips, and there's one iPause alert. So you can press these banners, or I can minimize them if I don't want to see them and I need more map space to look around at the map. But this iPause alert is interesting too. You'll notice I do have an iPause alert. This is a weather alert going on in my area. It tells me more about it, and I can always press on this little map icon to see what area is affected. And so I'm in South Charlotte, and it's affecting kind of this Union County area here. Little arrow at the far right, which because this is kind of like a little carousel here. Their alert showing up right there, and amber and other alerts that might be coming in. But yeah. A Punch Technologies Geofence. So, but I could always change that. Private orgs up top, and then your public orgs underneath it. But let's go back to just the basics of reporting an emergency. If Punch Technologies is correct, you can just leave it at that, or if you want to change, you can change it right there even before you hit the red button. But let's go ahead and hit the red button. Okay, so I've got the same 30-second countdown. It's vibrating, but now notice Punch Technologies is up there. If I want to change that, I can change it. Now it's giving me a few options. Only my private memberships, right? Not the public ones. Continuing to vibrate, and so I can. All right, and let's go back to Punch Technologies. I don't want to call 911. Let's look at all the emergency categories. These are all my categories, again, customizable. But you notice my top 3 was there too. Let's choose fire and hit report. So I'm going to skip the countdown. I just reported a fire. Now this is should be fairly, clear to everyone. Nothing too drastically changed here. You can see how you set your status at the top. You notice the emergency plans are right there, and I can submit my content at the bottom. Hello world. The few key things on this page. First of all, photos. You can always submit a photo, and that's been great. Customers love doing that and just annotating it. This is, bad, whatever you need to say. But now videos have been always underused in our system because we've had a limitation on the length of them. That was frankly a little bit rough. And now we've extended that significantly. So you can take longer videos. So at least, I think on Android, it's 2 minutes. I believe we can support that on iOS as well. It was a minimum 30 seconds, but I think now it's 2 minutes on both platforms. So you can take longer videos and submit them. This is what's going on here. And notice it takes, obviously the longer the video, it takes a moment longer to submit, but it ultimately gets submitted and responders can see that. Okay, so that's the photo and video functionality. There it goes. And obviously audio is still the same. That is still 30 seconds. When you hit the call drawer, you have your 911 Plus at the top. So everyone should be familiar with that. And that tells people when you join a call, when you end a call. But the second option is now a Punch conference line. And this is where you join a call with just each other, obviously without 911, anyone that joins. And the second you press this, it'll tell everyone on my team that I joined. Now I'm not going to do it because Zoom does not like it when you start a VoIP call in your demoing. So I can't demo that for you, but I really encourage you to try this out. I think you'll really like it. it tells, you'll basically see, oh, a couple of my colleagues are joining a conference line right now, and you'll be able to just press that blue icon or the word Punch conference line and join. Again, if you prefer your external one, you can still have that set up. Or if you want to call someone directly, of course, you can do that. But this little blue icon is what's new. That's the Punch conference line. Does anyone have any questions that they'd like to submit on that?
I do see a question here, Greg. And this is kind of off topic, but still a very important question.
Mm-hmm.
What backup features are you all exploring in the event services go down due to a power outage and Wi-Fi is interrupted?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, so this happens, you know, when you have a power outage, obviously Wi-Fi goes down. The main thing, we tend to cover this in training. This is just standard kind of phone use. Like if Wi-Fi is down and you're on Wi-Fi, your apps will stop working, right? It's like you're trying to check your email and it won't come through and you think, oh, what's going on? And you really need to switch over to cellular. So right now I'm on Wi-Fi, right? If I swipe down, I can turn my Wi-Fi off and that'll force me to go on cellular. So that's just kind of phone awareness and something that we really encourage people to do. That said, when the app, you know, we do check your connection, especially during phone calls. So during a 911 call in particular, there's a little banner at the top. And if your connection is getting weak, we'll encourage you, same thing in the conference line actually. If your connection's getting weak, we'll encourage you to just switch over to a cellular call as opposed to a VoIP call. Because everything we're doing is in the app, at least when it comes to phone calls, are VoIP calls, right? They're data-based calls, you know, and kind of like we're doing right now with Zoom. And that's great as long as you have some kind of connection. But as that connection gets weaker, we're able to sense jitter and other kind of inconsistencies, including just general connectivity for the mobile app. So we'll tell you if we're having a connection issue, and then maybe you want to move over to a different platform. I mean, certainly because PunchAlert operates over text message, over email, you can have the desktop app wired, you know, your computer wired over Ethernet. We try and present as many options as possible. Obviously, it's all software as a service. We do have quite a bit of redundancy in place, geographic redundancy. So when servers go down, we tend to stay up, and we have backup providers for really every communication channel that we offer. So nothing's perfect. It can certainly happen, but we try and provide all those different options. And if it's not available to you, we'll just kind of let you know. Ideally, the app should be telling you, looks like your connection's a little weak, jump over here to a normal cellular call. In fact, that's even available for the conference line. Although the VoIP conference line is what you'll usually be using, if the connection gets weak, we'll give you a link at the top that takes you over to the 1-800 version of that conference line. So you can still get on a conference line together. It'll just be, you know, a normal dial-in from the dialer, as opposed to the VoIP line if, again, your connection's weak. I don't know if I answered that question, but hopefully I did, and if not, please chime in again.
Thank you.
Great. All right. So, yeah. So I think we talked about, you know, the emergency categories. Again, they're visual. So please go in and make these your own. You know, edit your categories, make sure they're the ones that you want, and let us know if you need new categories uploaded. But this is one of those new things, and you'll see that in announcements as well, which I can jump into. But yeah, I guess we'll go through that in a moment. Let me just see if there's anything left with emergencies that we haven't yet covered. I think that's everything. Ashley, anything else we should cover with emergencies?
No, I think that sounds good. One thing that I wanted to go through is in the announcements and the activities. Something that I'm really excited about is now you can put the links in your announcements, and you can actually click on the link and it will take you to that link where you're trying to go to. Can you show them that in the activity feed?
Sure. So I just resolved that emergency. So Ashley sent out one before the call. So this is, you know, I can press on that link and go right to Zoom. So yeah, simple things like that we've really focused on, just making them better. And also you'll notice the announcement. So you still have your logo associated with the announcement, but notice the icon is showing up here first. And that's set when you're creating an announcement, you know, test test, whatever it is. You have your more options here. When you do announcement type, notice these are your icons. So if you want to start using announcement types, they're only really relevant for your app users, but they will show up both in the, let me delete, don't save draft. They'll show up in the activity feed as well as on the map. So now again, you're seeing tips around me, but whether they're emergencies or announcements, those will show up on the map as well. But yeah, links to Ashley's point was a very nice feature. And then just all those interactive capabilities over SMS. Okay, so yeah, I think maybe the next thing I want to show, when you go to Explore, I think most of you know this, but when you go to Explore, you can see when you press on an org, you can see what lists and plans are available. And you can either join them. If they're a private list, you have to join them with a code, but if they're a public list, you can just follow or unfollow. So this is something, for example, the state of Georgia, the Georgia Poison Center is using. Let me find that one. I had it, sorry, 1 moment. So you can see, like, for example, Georgia Poison Center has 3 lists set up, and I'm following 2 of them. I'm not following their Spanish list, and I could very easily follow or unfollow. And so that's a nice little capability you can do from the mobile app. Well, those list names, they also set up the same code, so you can do it via text message. So that was kind of going back to the sign up phrase thing. Right here in this text thread, so this is our short code 77297. You can just go ahead and text your sign up phrase, and it will sign you up for whatever list you need to sign up for. So that's some of the nice capabilities within SMS. Again, including all the interactivity that we now offer. So again, go back to the mobile app. I think we've covered all the great new features, or at least high level. Does anyone have any questions?
There was one question that came in. Is there a short presentation on this very subject that can be presented to school superintendents that have a short attention span due to all types of issues, right? And I know for me that what I'll want to see is maybe some short little videos on each of these features, which is absolutely what we'll do. And we'll also be uploading those in the customer portal for resources as well, so that you can access those videos.
Yeah, it's a great question. Obviously, we always support our partners with demos. So we'll Ashley and I and other folks on our team will do demos, and a lot of our partners are now self-sufficient. They can do their own demos, just in terms of or walking through a quick deck. Obviously, with PowerPoints and brief ways of kind of explaining what the value of this whole product is. And a partner can really do it themselves at this point, and hopefully it's fairly intuitive. But yeah, if you're referring to more of the features, like Ashley said, I think short videos are definitely going to be helpful. The other thing to be aware of is you can actually read a lot more of our documentation online. We have a new section of our web console. I believe it's documentation.punchalert.com. We've started to link to it more and talk about it more in training. You just pull it up just to confirm that URL. I think we got it. Actually, I don't know if you could pull that up. I think it's docs.punchalert.com. There it is. Maybe I'll take my phone off the screen in a moment and show that. We can do that now. Let's go right into it now.
I sent it out to them as well, docs.punchalert.com.
Yeah. So we're going to be posting more and more in this. Here, I'm posting, share my screen. Just for example, like this, and there have some recent articles. You can see that the change log of new features is listed here. So some of this stuff will cover what we just, this will cover what we just discussed today. But if you go to the landing page and you search for something, category, it's suggesting a few things, how to set category icons. Um, you can go right there and read about the category icons. So, and each of those pages has a link. So, and you can just always, you don't have to choose the selection. You could just hit search and it'll give you all the articles that are relevant. I want to go to Cap Alerts and learn a little bit more about Cap Alerts, which is a great way we integrate with a lot of third parties. And you want to share this link out to someone, just feel free. So again, it's just docs.punchalert.com. But yeah, I think to Ashley's point, I think videos are helpful, and we'll need to do more of those. It's a good question.
Yeah, one comment was definitely could use an intro demo for staff, students, and guests. And I believe we do have a user video. So after the webinar, when we send out the recording, I'll also make sure to include some links to some current videos that we have, and then as well as the docs.punchalert.com, some resources there, so that you guys have access to those. And then there was one other question that came in. Do you have or ever considered integrations with VoIP phone systems? We currently use single wire Informacast for broadcasting to phone extensions, as well as set up broadcast to our internal Valcom speakers. I'd love to consolidate down to PunchAlert only.
Yeah, great points, and great questions. Yeah, no, we do integrate with several VoIP phone systems, not single wire Informacast. However, we integrate with Ring Central, we integrate with ShoreTel. We're always looking at others. Those are very nice integrations. And we have an integration gallery. I didn't show you that in the admin console. But if you go to Tools, Integrations, you can look at our integration gallery of what we offer today. You saw Slack and being one of them. But yeah, Valcom, I think you mentioned, that is an intercom system that does accept Cap Alerts. So we have integrated with Valcom simply because they can accept Cap Alerts, which is what you're looking at here. That's a common alerting protocol, and it's something you can set up very easily. It shows you how right here. Or if you need our help, we're happy to help you get set up. And you can see, like, you can select, when do you want an alert to go out over your intercom system? Do you want it to be on the emergency declared? Do you want it to be on a mass update? Do you want it on a lockdown? And then what type of message do you want to go out? And what are the details of the message? So it's actually really easy to customize it now in the new admin console. So that's a great way to integrate with a lot of systems, and Valcom's definitely included in that. We'd love to help you consolidate. I mean, that's really our goal, is to, with PunchAlert from the very beginning, is to help you not have to jump around too much from system to system. There may always be a need for more than one system for various things, but we're trying to, at least within PunchAlert, create awareness that something's happening, so that you don't have to repeat yourself as much as possible or type something in twice. But yeah, great questions.
And another one just came in. Are you familiar with the ability to push notifications to the display phones in a ShoreTel or now Mitel phone system?
Yeah, that's a capability. So when we integrate with ShoreTel, the current integration is such that we simply listen to the ShoreTel phone system. It's similar to Ring Central. We can listen to buttons that get pressed. So if you want a silent emergency from your ShoreTel phone, basically turn it into a panic button, you could do that. We're always listening for 911 calls. Whenever there's a 911 call, we can automate an emergency and inform people that a 911 call has been placed and where it's from and what extension and all that. We don't currently push to ShoreTel phones. There are other systems out there that do that, and we can kind of help you look at those. If that's a critical feature. One thing we've thought about, a lot with this is, Cap Alerts are so simple and they're such a great way to push to other systems that if a system doesn't support that, they really should. I mean, in our view, like we can accept a Cap Alert or push a Cap Alert, and that's it's an industry protocol. So we're hoping more and more systems accept that. That's one of the reasons we integrated with Rise Vision, who was very early on that. And so I don't know if any of you know about them, but great digital signage product. It's very inexpensive. So you can just, if you have some screens that you want to be displaying alerts, you install Rise Vision, you pay a small monthly fee per screen, and you can push any PunchAlert message to it, an announcement, an emergency. So a lot of great capabilities to it. So yeah, we haven't invested deep in like pushing to notifications to VoIP systems, because we're really hoping everyone kind of coalesces around the CAP protocol. But you know, these are all technically possible things. It's just a matter of prioritization and what customers need. Yeah, great question.
Great. Let's see. Are there plans to update your Mac OS app now that Apple allows you to migrate iOS apps to the Mac using Catalyst? It's fairly system to do. Maybe simple to do.
Cool.
I'd be glad to talk to your devs to help give feedback on this.
Oh, great, great. Yeah, let's follow up offline. I'm not personally familiar with Catalyst. I venture to say Andrew, our CTO, probably does know about it. But yeah, no, I mean, I think we've been working towards getting 5.5 out in this conference line system and the new admin console out for so long. We haven't paid as much attention as we probably need to for our desktop apps, our Mac and Windows apps. So yeah, we absolutely will look at that. I know there's a bunch of you out there that have requested features for our Windows app and our Mac app. So yeah, we'll look into Catalyst. I love your thoughts on that. But we will be paying more attention to those other apps. So thank you.
Great. I don't have any other questions unless anyone else has anything. I don't see any other questions coming in.
Great.
Go ahead and share our contact information, Greg, so that they have it readily available to them.
Yeah. All right. Here it is. Thank you for your time today, everyone. Yeah, we'd love to give you your last 15 minutes back or so. Thanks for spending your time with us. Any questions? Please send us your feedback too. We really want your feedback, your ideas. We're meeting every week with our product team to talk about what's next. So yeah, please stay in touch.
Yes, thanks so much, Greg. I appreciate your time today and everybody else on the call. And we'll definitely be sending out an email with the recording as well as some of the resources and our contact information. So please do not ever hesitate to reach out to us. Many of you know we love working with you and we love your feedback and we definitely act on it. So we appreciate your partnership in that.
Yeah, and stay safe and healthy. And thanks again, everyone. And thank you, Ashley.
Yes, thanks.